live stream in YouTube. So for a school, I am very... It was just a matter of time that we skipped onto YouTube. So that's happening today, and it's happening with Wadestown School in Wellington. So hello everyone from... Well, this is YouTube. So welcome to the section of the... I've been spending a lot of time in my garden lately, more than ever before, and I'm sure that if you have a garden, you can do the same. So my name is Amadeo. I'm actually a science communicator. I am also a teacher, so I've been teaching for many years in a school here in Dunedin. I live in Dunedin. I am not from Dunedin, though. You might see from my accent. I'm from the other side of the world, Spain. I've got a Spanish accent. My first language is Spanish. So if any of you are Spanish speakers, hola, we're in my garden. This is one that I just picked when I came down to start showing you rocks, because one of the things that I want to do over the next half an hour is give you a little bit of information and show you how you can be a geologist in your garden, and also show you how you can be a biologist, a zoologist, a botanist, all these scientists that actually like spending time outdoors looking at nature. So first thing that you could do, grab a shoebox. This is my shoebox, and I've done this for many years now. In this shoebox I have a lot of cool things like a hand lens, but also I would encourage you to get a book, a notebook where you can write what you find. I actually have 3. So I'm going to show you them, and then we'll start looking at rocks. But grab a pen and a little page, if nothing else, and you can start taking notes. This book is furry, so you can guess what might I be using. What might I be using this book for? In here, look the title, Aliens of Earth. I think going back, one of the most exciting things you could do in your garden. There are so many incredible creatures, and in here I take note of the plants, I take note of the bugs that I find whenever I do a bug hunt. So this is my animals. Not all of them are furry, but animals. Green for plants. In here I take notes of all my plant finds. And in here, this is kind of like a marbly look. This is where I've been writing rocks. And this is what I studied, actually. And I can totally let you know, geology, rocks. Not only because it's full of rocks in the geological world, but also because rocks have so much information. So over the next few minutes, I'm going to start with rocks, and then I'll finish with some of this life, and I'll go back hunting in my garden. As soon as this finish, I'm going to encourage you all to do the same, to go back hunting, to go rock hunting. If you have a rock collection, I want to see them. If you want to identify any of the rocks you find in your garden, send through to me photos here in the YouTube channel. You'll be able to comment, so you can comment anytime. I've got beautiful person recording me, and she will be reading any comments that appear. Otherwise, I'm just going to go for it, and this video can be used later on as well by any people that watch at any time, really. So keep those comments coming, even if it's not during the lifetime. And if you want to send me photos of your rocks and bugs that you might find, especially rocks, because I'm a geologist, I can help you with identifying them. Tell your parents, and maybe they can send me a message through Facebook. In this YouTube channel that I'm using, you'll have all the information that you need to contact me, so go for it. So, rocks. First thing that I'm going to do for a few moments is this, which is in YouTube. There's so many incredible videos, and I've seen some that I really want to try. I've never actually made Play-Doh, but Play-Doh can be very easily made with flour, and yeah, this would be an incredible thing to try doing in your lockdown time while we are in the bubble. Even next week, I guess, schools are starting, but you'll still be at home. Quite a lot of you will stay at home. Stay at home if you can, because that would be the best really for everyone in New Zealand. So make a project on making your own Play-Doh. I've got this from ages ago. Actually, we used it and it doesn't go off. This is over a year old actually. And I wanted to show it to you because if you have Play-Doh of many colors, you could go through the rock cycle with Play-Doh. If you have Play-Doh at home, this is something that if you do though, you're going to mix the colors, you might not get it back in the same form you have it. So ask your parents if you can mess with your Play-Doh. But I've just made a little flat surface. This would be, imagine in a lake, a layer of sand or mud. If you go into a muddy lake, this is, and you can walk over the mud. It all comes from the rivers, in the ocean, in a lake, and we get one layer of mud. Mostly when there's a big storm. It's beautiful here in Dunedin today, but when it rains, that's when we get a lot of sediment, mud or sand. And there's one storm, which means one layer of mud. And there's another storm, which means there's another layer of mud. And there's another storm. And through time, usually there's a lot of mud accumulating over winter because there's a lot of storms, and less mud over summer. So if you look at rocks that have layers of mud, and I'll show you some later, you can actually see the seasons. So you can look at a rock and say, wow, there was a storm right here just by looking at the mud. And this is even more beautiful. Look how beautiful. I feel like eating it. Do not eat the Play-Doh though. You could make edible Play-Doh. But this is what we call a sedimentary rock, layers and layers and layers. If you go to the west coast here in the South Island, we've got the Pancake Rocks. And if I cut through this is the most delicious rock formation. It's actually quite, oh, I didn't cut all the way through. It's quite beautiful because what we call the Pancake Rocks is layer after layer after layer. And this is what you can see in a lot of sedimentary rocks, rocks that are in layers. And I have quite a few of them here in my garden. So in a few minutes, when I show you the other rock kinds, I will show you some rocks that I have in my garden. And then I'd like you to go to your garden and tell me what kind of rocks have you got. Can you see in your rocks layers of sand? Or maybe you have a little bit of a layer. And can you see sand or can you see mud? Then you have a sedimentary rock. These rocks are amazing because they have fossils. So I really like sedimentary rocks. My area of study at the very end of my degree was paleontology because I love fossils. I would love to find a dinosaur here in the South Island. No one has yet. In the North Island, there are some. Now, this is the rock. And if you put rocks under pressure, look what happens. Pressure, this is what happens at a lot of depth. Mount Cook on the rocks. Earth. Under a lot of pressure, look, more pressure. These are like earthquakes when the plates are moving. Earthquake and earthquake and earthquake. Get a bit of Play-Doh or make some Play-Doh. And first make a sedimentary rock. Then make a metamorphic rock. So metamorphic rocks are quite messed like this. They look beautiful, and I do have some, so I'm going to show you some. If we cut through them, they look very, I'm going to make a very clean, there. They actually look really cool. If you see marble, it can be quite twisted, and that happens at depth. So if I put this under, we've got sedimentary rocks at the top, metamorphic rocks in the bottom, and the more pressure you put them, now this is where it gets fun, because the more you squish them, the more all those layers blend together. At some stage in metamorphic rocks, we will stop having fossils. So all the fossils disappear. This is high-grade metamorphism. Look how beautiful it looks. Look at all the colors. Metamorphic rocks can be beautiful. I'm going to show you some. So if you go really deep, oh, look what's happening. The nice straight layers are starting to get best. And if I keep doing this, actually, I'm going to do it with all of it. There'll be a point, I'm going to do this like for a minute. There'll be a point where all the colors blend together. All the rock actually melts together. And that's under the earth. There's one point at a lot of pressure, really deep, where the rock turns to magma. I'm trying to make magma with my hands, and it's getting hot, and it's getting really squishy and a bit liquidy, and that's what magma is. And the color, no matter what rock, when you make magma out of a rock, the color is going to be very fiery. When a volcano erupts and all that lava comes out, you'll always see these rivers of magma. Look at this. I should keep going really, but I'm going to put a bit of this down here. See, so we've got sedimentary. How beautiful. Metamorphic, very metamorphic, and magma down here. What can happen to the magma? I'm actually going to make a really long magma sausage. Magma sausage, because I want this magma to break through. Sometimes this magma breaks through the rock and comes up. And then we have a volcano. I've just made a volcano, look. And the volcanic magma flow comes there. Look at the crater of this volcano up there. And the lava coming down. And all these volcanic layers can add then to be a sedimentary rock. It's a cycle. This is called the rock cycle. And no matter what rock you find in your garden, I'm going to leave this here. No matter what rock you find in your garden, your rock is either going to be sedimentary, metamorphic, or igneous, which is this magma coming out. So check this out. Cool rocks that I have. This is one of my favorite. This rock is actually limestone, and the cool thing of this limestone is that it has a fossil. It's from very close to here, from Dunedin. Limestone, kind of sandy. It has no sand though, it's more bits of shells. Obviously this is layers of lime which would have been under the ocean. This is sedimentary. I'm going to put the sedimentary in this side. Look, this here, sedimentary as well. See, we have another fossil. So if you have a rock with a fossil, it's sedimentary. If you have a rock that's really squashed, metamorphic. Look at this, very, very squashed. This is schist. We have a lot of it here in Otago. If you come to the South Island in New Zealand, you will see heaps of schist. And schist can sometimes look like it has layers, but these are not layers like in the sedimentary rocks. This would have been mud about 600 million years ago, a long time ago. And with the pressure, what happens is that some minerals start flowing in it. So if you look carefully in a metamorphic rock, you'll see that the layers that you might see are not actually layers from the storms that I was speaking about before. Look at this one. Here, I haven't cleaned this one. I grabbed it just from my garden, but you can see that it's really, those white little bits are very convoluted. It's like moving all around. So this is metamorphic, sedimentary, metamorphic, and then igneous. Igneous is when you get the magma. And if that magma comes out in a volcano, and you have a lot of those in the North Island, volcanoes that are actually active. Dunedin, where I am, is a volcano too, and this is an igneous rock. And you can see little bubbles even. This was magma about 10 million years ago. Dunedin was an active volcano, so not very long ago at all. If you have rocks in your garden that have little bubbles all around, you have a volcanic rock. That was a lava flow. So have you got lava flows in your garden? Have you got metamorphic? Can you find sedimentary rock? Draw. What I do in my book is actually draw the rocks that I find, and I draw the little patterns that I see, and that sometimes helps me identify what kind of rock it is.
Isaac says that he once found a blue rock.
Blue rock, that is very uncommon. That would be a mineral. All rocks are made up of minerals, so I'm sure there would have been a blue mineral there, azurite maybe. I wonder if it was a New Zealand rock. Did you find it here? I would be very interested where you find blue rocks here. But it will be a mineral in it. That's very cool. So, yeah, if you know what it is, that's cool. If you don't know what it is, send me a photo, and then we can identify it. And I would say, well, minerals actually can be in any kind of rock. You could find diamonds in rocks like this, in the bubbles, they grow. So heaps of crystals here. You can find gold. You can find crystals here, garnets as well in metamorphic rocks. And of course, you can find many very cool crystals in sedimentary rocks. So crystals are everywhere. Now, what is this? I have some very cool rocks that I got from the West Coast. Can you see layers here? Not really. You can't really see it being squashed either. It's been rounded by the rivers that these rocks were in. But what I can see is a lot of really big crystals. Some are white, some are kind of orange, some are black or gray. These crystals are from the magma. If the rocks in the magma come up straight into a volcano, then we'll get this basalt. And rocks like this, which have heaps of bubbles, and pumice. There in the North Island you have pumice, incredible pumice, very light, full of bubbles. But if the magma stays somewhere down here and cools down, then we can get really big crystals. And these crystals can get really big. Have I got more rocks with crystals? Oh, no, this has bubbles. Look at the bubbles. So this is basalt. Any rock that you find at home, or if is it a story of crystals growing slowly from the magma? Or my favorite is it a story of life? The story of life through the fossils. Have you got any fossils at home? That's from sedimentary rocks. So that's geology, yes.
Kieran says they have a bismuth rock that they bought.
And that's one experiment that I want to do. I cannot wait to do it. And by the way, there's experiments that we are starting to load into this YouTube channel. And I work at the Otago Museum. In the Otago Museum here, we have so much online at the moment. If you go online and you put otagomuseum.co.nz, I think it is Otago Museum, search for Otago Museum, and there's a lot of content and things that you can do at home. And doing bismuth is one that I really want to do, because bismuth is a mineral that you can make it crystallize. It's a gas when you melt it, and it crystallizes into beautiful patterns, like kind of squarey patterns. Very, very cool. So that's a very good start of a mineral collection that you have there with bismuth. That's rocks. Shall we go bug hunting? I'm going to finish showing you what you can do.
Isaac also finds lots of pumice. Sorry.
As a bug hunter. Pumice is one of my favorite rocks. You know why? Because it is the only rock that I know of. Oh, no, actually, there's others that are very light. Here, some fossils are so light that they float, but pumice is a rock that floats. Can you imagine picking up a rock from the floor and throwing it to the water and it floats? It is still a rock. Check that with your pumice. If you have pumice, put it in a bowl of water and it becomes a boat. It's really cool. So amazing pumice.
We've got a question.
Question.
What happens if the magma doesn't flow up?
If the magma doesn't come out of the volcano, it stays in here, down, cooling down, and it makes rocks like this. So then it makes really big crystals. Granite. This is granite. It's a different composition to basalt, but what will happen to if this basalt had stayed under without coming in a lava flow, it would have made really big crystals. I thought I actually brought another rock, but I haven't. That was this rock, but coming up slowly, and it's got really big crystals. So if you have a rock full of really big crystals, that's what happens to the magma when it doesn't come out of a volcano. Then it's called plutonic. So these are plutonic rocks. These are volcanic rocks. Volcano, boom. Oh, actually, before the bug hunt, you know what you can do with your Play-Doh? I'm gonna make a mess. I like making messes sometimes. Look, if I put this volcano in my little tray, the volcano I just made, I'm going to make the crater bigger. Can you see? A volcanic eruption is about to happen. I'm going to put some baking soda in my volcano. Oh, that's a lot of baking soda. Okay, if you make a volcano out of Play-Doh, maybe don't put that much baking soda. Of course, I'm not making lava. That would be dangerous. But you know, when you mix baking soda with vinegar, then we get a lot of gas, like those rocks that I had that have bubbles. So it'll look a little bit like the volcano is erupting. Let's see. 3, 2, 1. Oh no, but the lava is falling down through the rock cycle. That makes no sense, because the lava should go into the layers of rock. I actually have a big chunk here. I'm going to keep this as a model of the rock cycle. Maybe if you do a volcano, it's best to actually just make a volcano with some Play-Doh, and then you can put a nice amount of baking soda and see the volcano erupt. Maybe let's do a little valley there, and the lava will go down the valley. Okay, I'm going to load this volcano. Try this at home. Are you ready for the volcanic eruption? 3, 2, 1. Oh, if you have little dinosaurs, I would place them really close to the lava flow, but not in the lava flow, not in the bubbles. That would be the very dangerous place to be. If you're ever in an active volcano, never in the valleys. That's very, very dangerous. So that's geology. Before I finish, I know I could keep going with rocks forever because I'm a geologist, but I do actually like animals a lot. Before deciding to study geology, I, as a kid, always went out to see, and I had a little book like this where I did a biologist. Check this out in my furry biology book. This is all the life that you can find on Earth, from the very basic creatures that we cannot see actually down here. All these are bacteria, protists. You'd need a microscope to see all those, and they are everywhere. Actually, we are in our bubble because of a virus. Very little thing as well you cannot see. COVID-19. Viruses are not here because can you actually believe it? Viruses are not alive. They are just kind of like a broken thing that comes into our body and messes with our DNA. Very dangerous. And that's why we are all in our bubble. So things that we cannot see. Now the things that you can see are here. Look, in your garden, go and see. What kind of plants can you find? Can you find plants like ferns that have no flowers? Ferns are really, really old. Can you find plants like pine trees that have no flowers? Not as old as ferns, but very old, with dinosaurs. This is all there was. With dinosaurs, there wouldn't have been any flowering plants. Have you got plants with flowers? That would be very cool, because they are very evolved to live with animals. Animals like bees. insects. There's heaps of animals like worms. There's animals like slaters, all those really weird, they're called arthropods, that have hard-body spiders as well. Find spiders. Or if you're really lucky, what vertebrates can you find? Look at this vertebrate here. It's a dog. Have you got a dog? Can you find other vertebrates like a bird, a pigeon, a tui? Here, there's so many cool animals. And I would say, draw them. Draw these animals, take photos of them. Open your book and let's see. I'm gonna actually do that right now. And I don't know if you've seen, but here I have a beehive. So at least the first thing that you can see in my garden is a lot of bees. They're going crazy right now because of how much sun there is on them. I don't have my beehive protection, so I'm not gonna open them, but look how many bees there are. I don't wanna get stung, but they're making a lot of honey. The most they can before the winter starts here in Dunedin. So we could see bees. Come with me this way, actually. If I go into the more bushy part of my garden, this is one part that I don't really come very often, but I am slowly getting there with cleaning up. Kind of cool that I haven't removed all this, because if you, for example, down here, have muddy bits like this that you can remove, that's where some incredible... I saw actually a peripatus recently this year doing that. You can see some incredible creatures. So if you're in your garden, do this, see what you find. Oh, look at this. What kind of creature is this? Where am I going to put it? I should have brought the tray. I have got, maybe just in my hand, what is this? This is a creature, a bit like a snail. It's called a slug. It has no shell. It's a mollusk, like all the shellfish that you might find if you go to the beach. This belongs to that group, but it has no shell. So in your book, I would even maybe make a list. How many animals do you find with shells, like snails? How many animals do you find that have 8 legs? What animal has 8 legs? Spiders. Can you find a spider? This is a slug. Whatever you find, put it back where it was. We're not going to kill them. We're not going to remove them. We're just leaving them where they were. But keep looking, because you could find more. I want to find a spider. The cool thing here in New Zealand too is that whatever you find is not gonna be too dangerous. If we were in Australia, there's a lot of animals that are a lot more dangerous. But here you can go like this. See, I'm gonna make this my project of the weekend. Clean these steps up. And while I doing this is how I found a peripatus, an incredibly old creature that lives here in New Zealand, at least here in the South Island, and now I know in my garden as well. And they are amazing because they have many little legs. They're unlike any other bug that you can find in your garden. They have a group of their own. They're called velvet worms. If you find a velvet worm in your garden, please send me the photo, because those are amazing. What if I put all this here? Where can we find? The truth is that I'm a little bit nervous because I don't like little crawly things going on my arm. But I keep always thinking, you know what? They're not going to be dangerous. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep actually trying to find bugs in my garden. It's a beautiful day down here in Dunedin. Have a look at the sky up there. If you move the camera, oh, you'll see my neighbor in the roof, actually. That beautiful day. Send me photos. We can identify them, and definitely if you have rocks, if you have a rock collection, if you have a rock that you don't know what it is, send me a photo. I will help you identify And then you'll know the story. Every rock, no matter what, has an amazing story to tell. So enjoy the science in your gardens and enjoy your bubble as much as you can. It's just over half an hour now. What's the time? I think, we don't know the time.
11:30.
11:30 is when I was going to end this session. So I will finish this here, but by no means this is the end of your session, because you should now go and take photos of your rocks, draw them, go back hunting, and let me know how you go, at least in the comments right here. I will be checking the comments. Never will stop checking comments. So if you comment, I will reply. And I might see you some other time next week, with the weather being maybe not as good. I had my plan B, which is kitchen chemistry. If you want to do some kitchen chemistry, kitchen physics even, experiments right in your kitchen, that will be next. So see you then, keep in touch and enjoy.